Norfolk is one of the easiest cities in Hampton Roads to misunderstand. Some people see the waterfront, historic homes, restaurants, museums, and military presence and think they have found the most interesting place to live in the region. Other people hear about the flooding, older housing, parking, traffic, or property taxes and immediately cross Norfolk off their list. Both reactions are usually based on an incomplete picture because Norfolk is not just one experience. Living in a downtown apartment feels completely different from owning a historic home in Ghent. Living near Old Dominion University feels completely different from living near Chesapeake Bay in Ocean View. And choosing a home 5 minutes from Naval Station Norfolk may create a completely different daily routine than choosing one on the other side of the city. So before you decide whether Norfolk belongs on your list, I want to help you answer a more useful question. Does Norfolk fit the way you actually want to live? Hi, I'm Carrie Tanner, realtor with At Coastal Realty. I help people make confident real estate decisions throughout the Hampton Roads area. In this video, we're going to talk honestly about what Norfolk offers, what catches buyers off guard, how dramatically the experience can change from one part of the city to another, and what you need to investigate before buying or renting here. My goal is not to convince you to move to Norfolk, and it's not to talk you out of it. My goal is to make sure you are choosing Norfolk for the right reasons and with your eyes open. Let's begin with the first thing people often misunderstand. Norfolk is not a traditional suburb. If your picture of a home is a newer subdivision with wide streets, large yards, attached two-car garages, and similar homes built around the same time, you can find some of that in and around Hampton Roads. But that is not the experience Norfolk is primarily known for. Norfolk is an older, more established city. It has historic neighborhoods, dense residential streets, apartment, condominiums, townhomes, traditional detached houses, waterfront properties, homes built across many different decades, and you can also find new construction here. That creates something many buyers love: character. You may find tree-lined streets, front porches, original architectural details, sidewalks near restaurants, and neighborhoods that feel connected to the city around them. But character and convenience often arrive with responsibilities. Older homes may have older plumbing, older electrical systems, limited storage, smaller closets, and additions or renovations that have been completed long before the current owner purchased the property. A beautifully updated kitchen can make a home feel new, but granite countertops do not tell you the age of the sewer line. Fresh paint does not tell you how the crawl space handles moisture. And new flooring does not tell you what is happening behind the electrical panel. That does not make an older home a bad purchase. Some older homes have been well maintained, and some newer homes have problems of their own. The point is that you need to evaluate the entire property, not just the parts that photograph well. This is especially important in Norfolk because two homes on the same street may have a very different history. One may have updated systems, drainage improvements, and years of careful maintenance. The other may look similar from the curb, but may need significant work behind the scenes. So when you tour an older home, do not ask, "Do I like this house?" Ask, "What will this house require from me?" Now, let's talk about what Norfolk gets right. Norfolk offers something that can be difficult to find in other parts of Hampton Roads: a stronger connection between where you live and what you can do nearby. Depending on the neighborhood, you may be close to restaurants, coffee shops, local businesses, cultural venues, university, waterfront areas, parks, and community events. Downtown Norfolk has an urban waterfront environment. Ghent is known for its historic architecture and commercial corridors. The Neon District has a strong arts identity. Ocean View and East Beach offer access to the Chesapeake Bay. Larchmont and Edgewater sit near Old Dominion University and the Elizabeth River. These places are all within the same city, but they do not provide the same lifestyle. That is why searching for homes for sale in Norfolk is far too broad. The city you experience will be shaped heavily by the small area around your home. Can you walk to anything that you use? How easy is it to park? How close are you to work? What does traffic look like at the time you travel? How does the street handle heavy rain? And does the surrounding area support the rhythm of your daily life? Those questions matter more than the city name printed on the listing. One of Norfolk's biggest advantage is location. The city is home to Naval Station Norfolk, which the Navy describes as the home of its largest concentration of naval forces. That makes Norfolk an obvious consideration for many military households. But there is an important distinction between living close to the installation and having a predictable commute. A home may be geographically close to the base, but still require you to navigate congestion, railroad crossing, busy corridors, school hour traffic, or delays near a particular gate. Your commute may also change depending on the time you report. A route that feels easy at 10 o'clock in the morning may tell you very little about what it feels like before a morning shift or during the afternoon rush. So do not test the commute when it's convenient. Test it when you will actually be driving it. And make sure you know which installation you need to reach. Naval Station Norfolk is not the same as Norfolk Naval Shipyard, which is located in Portsmouth. It is not the same as Naval Air Station Oceana in Virginia Beach, and it is not the same as JEB Little Creek Port Story. People relocating to Hampton Roads sometimes hear Norfolk attached to a command or a job and assume that living in Norfolk automatically creates the best commute. Sometimes it does, but sometimes Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, Portsmouth, or another city nearby creates a more practical routine. The location of your workplace, your gate, your hours, and the other driver in your household all matters. This is one of the most important lessons about moving anywhere in Hampton Roads. Do not choose your home based only on mileage. Choose it based on the actual route, because a 7-mile commute can sometimes feel longer than a 15-mile commute when the 7 miles includes a bridge, tunnel, bottleneck, or consistently congested road. And your commute will influence your experience of the city far more than people realize. A house you love can start feeling like the wrong house if you resent leaving it every morning and returning exhausted every evening. Now, if there is one issue you absolutely cannot ignore when considering Norfolk, it is flooding. Flooding is not a footnote here. It needs to be a part of your property research from the very beginning. Norfolk is a coastal city surrounded by water, and different parts of the city can experience very different types of levels of flood risk. That may include tidal flooding, storm surges, heavy rain drainage issues, or a property's location within a mapped flood zone. The City of Norfolk provides tools that allow residents and buyers to search a property's flood risk, identify mapped flood zones, review flood data, and locate available elevation certificates. But I want to make an important distinction. Looking at a flood map is part of your research. It's not the entire investigation. A home may sit outside a high-risk flood zone and still experience water or drainage issues. Another property may be located within a mapped flood zone, but have elevation mitigation features or an insurance history that helps you better understand the risk. So do not reduce the decision to, is it in a flood zone, yes or no? Ask better questions. What flood designation applies to the property? Has the home or lot experienced flooding? Is there an elevation certificate? Would the lender require flood insurance? What does an insurance professional estimate the coverage will cost? How does water move around the lot during heavy rain? And are mechanical systems elevated? The last and important question is, are you comfortable accepting those risks? This is where some buyers make emotional mistakes. They find a home they love, then they treat the flood information as an obstacle standing between them and the house. That is backwards. The flood information is not trying to ruin the purchase. It is helping you understand what you would be agreeing to own. You may review everything and decide the home still makes sense. That can be a completely reasonable decision, but it should be an informed decision, and you need to do that research early. Not after you have mentally arranged the furniture, not after you have imagined Thanksgiving in the dining room, and definitely not a few days before closing when the insurance quote finally arrives. Fall in love slowly enough to investigate the house properly. That advice applies everywhere, but in Norfolk, it is especially important. The city has made major investments in resilience and flood mitigation, including projects involving stormwater management, pump stations, barriers, property elevation, and neighborhood level improvement. But a citywide resilience project does not eliminate the need to research an individual property. Norfolk's relationship with water is both one of its greatest attractions and one of its most important responsibilities. You need to be comfortable holding both truths at the same time. Now, let's talk about the neighborhoods, but in a way that helps you make a decision without pretending there is one best place to live, because there isn't. The right area depends on what you want your daily life to look like. Downtown Norfolk may appeal to someone who wants an urban setting. Waterfront views, restaurants, events, cultural attractions, and the possibility of living in a condo or apartment. You may be close to entertainment and major employers. You may also need to think carefully about parking, association fees, building rules, elevators, pet restrictions, storage, and the difference between visiting downtown for an evening and actually living there every day. A condo can reduce some exterior maintenance responsibilities, but it does not eliminate ownership costs. You need to review the condo documents, monthly fees, insurance responsibilities, reserve funding, rental restrictions, parking arrangements, and whether any major projects or assessments may be ahead. The view matters, yes, but the financial health of the association should matter too. Ghent offers a very different experience. It is one of Norfolk's most recognizable historic areas with older architecture, tree-lined streets, businesses, restaurants, apartment, condos, and detached homes. For someone who values character and proximity to city amenities, that can be very appealing. But older housing, limited off-street parking, smaller lots, and property maintenance may be part of the trade-off. Some buyers walk into a historic home and immediately see the charm. I want you to see the charm. But I also want you to notice the electrical panel, the windows, the foundation, the roof, the sewer line, and where you will put everything you currently keep in the garage. Character is wonderful, but character still needs an inspection. Larchmont and Edgewater may appeal to buyers who like established residential areas near Old Dominion University, Naval Station Norfolk, and the Elizabeth River. But proximity to a university or major employer changes the rhythm of an area. Traffic, events, parking patterns, and rental activity may feel different from one block to another. That is why I encourage people to visit an area at multiple times. Mornings, evenings, weekdays, and weekends if time permits. A 15-minute showing cannot tell you what living there will actually feel like. The house is giving you a first impression. The neighborhood requires a little more observation. Ocean View offers another version of Norfolk entirely. Here, the Chesapeake Bay becomes a larger part of the lifestyle. You may find beach access, waterfront views, condos, cottages, new construction, and traditional residential streets. For someone who wants to be near the water without living at the Virginia Beach oceanfront, Ocean View may deserve a serious consideration. But coastal living requires coastal questions. How close is the property to the water? How is the flood risk? How much would insurance cost? Is parking affected during events or peak beach periods? What type of maintenance will the property require? And are you buying the lifestyle you actually will use or the lifestyle that just looked attractive during one Saturday visit? People often pay a premium for proximity to something they imagine using consistently. The beach, downtown, restaurants, a marina, a park. But your actual routine may be different from your imagined routine. So ask yourself honestly, how often will I actually use this? If you're going to walk by the bay several evenings a week, the location may transform your quality of life. If you will visit the water 3 times a year, you may prefer more house, lower costs, or an easier commute somewhere else. Neither answer is wrong. The mistake is paying for a lifestyle you will not live. East Beach, also near the Chesapeake Bay, presents a more planned coastal environment than much of Norfolk's older housing stock. The architecture, streetscape, and proximity to the water can be highly appealing, but buyers should still examine association requirements, insurance, flood considerations, lot size, parking, and the total monthly cost, not just the purchase price. And then there are many other Norfolk neighborhoods that may not receive the same attention in relocation videos. Some offer more traditional detached homes, some are closer to major roads or employment centers, some have a mix of owner-occupied and rental properties, and some vary considerably from one street to the next. That does not mean you should avoid them. It means broad neighborhood labels are not enough. You need property-specific and block-specific research. This is where a lot of relocation content fails people. It tries to sort an entire city into simple categories: good area, bad area, best neighborhoods, affordable neighborhoods, up-and-coming neighborhoods. Those labels may sound useful, but they often hide more than they explain. They can also drift into subjective language that does not help you make an objective housing decision. I would rather help you evaluate the things that directly affect your life: the commute, housing condition, flood exposure, parking, access to the services you will actually use, and the complete monthly cost. Those are useful facts. You can decide how much each of them matters to you. Now, let's discuss housing prices and affordability. Norfolk may appear more affordable than some nearby cities, especially when you compare certain detached homes with similar options in parts of Virginia Beach or Chesapeake. But the purchase price alone can be misleading. A lower priced home may carry higher maintenance needs. An older roof, aging HVAC system, crawl space moisture issues, or sewer line issues, or poor drainage change the real cost of home ownership really quick. The city's current published real estate tax rate is $1.23 per $100 of assessed value, and Norfolk also assesses personal property tax on vehicles. Those are not reasons to avoid Norfolk, they are reasons to calculate the complete cost. Suppose you were comparing a home in Norfolk with a more expensive home in another Hampton Roads city. Do not stop at the sales price. You want to also compare the estimated mortgage payment, real estate taxes, homeowners insurance, and flood insurance if it's needed, association fees, expected utility costs, transportation and commuting expenses, immediate repairs, and the amount you should reserve for future repairs. The cheaper house is not always the more affordable house, and a higher priced house is not always the worst value. Price tells you what it may cost to purchase the property. Affordability tells you what it may cost to keep it. Those are not the same thing. Norfolk's housing stock also means your inspection strategy matters. Depending on the property, you may want to think beyond a general home inspection. A sewer line evaluation, a roof assessment, specialist review of electrical, plumbing, foundation, or crawl space concerns. You do not need every possible inspection for every home. The general home inspection should guide you on the additional inspections you may need. But do not skip reasonable due diligence because you're afraid of losing the home. Winning the contract is not the same as winning the purchase. The goal is not to simply get your offer accepted. The goal is to own a home that still makes sense after you understand everything about it. Now, let's talk about parking. This may sound minor until you actually live with it every single day. Some Norfolk properties have driveways, garages, or dedicated parking. Others rely heavily on street parking. In denser or older areas, you need to ask, where will I park? Where will guests park? Is parking assigned, permitted, shared, or first come, first served? Can I fit my vehicle in the driveway or garage? What happens during nearby events? And how far will I be carrying groceries when it rains? That last question sounds almost silly until it's your Tuesday night. The same thing is true for storage. Older homes and urban condos may not provide the storage you're accustomed to. Look beyond whether your future fits. Where will you put holiday decorations, sports equipment, bicycles, tools, lawn equipment, military gear, beach equipment, and everything else currently hiding in your garage pretending not to exist? The floor plan has to support your real possessions, not the perfectly edited version of the life shown in the listing photos. Noise is another property-specific issue. Norfolk has military operations, trains, highways, universities, hospitals, entertainment districts, and busy commercial corridors. What you can hear changes significantly depending on the location. Some people adjust easily to city or military noise, others do not. So when viewing a home, stop talking for a moment, stand outside, open a window, listen. You are not only buying what you can see, you're also choosing what you may hear every day. Now, let's talk about schools. I cannot tell you which school is best for your household or steer you towards or away from a neighborhood based on school. What I can do is encourage you to research objective information directly. Review current attendance boundaries, program offerings, transportation, enrollment procedures, Virginia Department of Education data, and any services or opportunities that matter to your household. Contact the school division directly when you have a specific question, and verify the assigned school for the exact property. Do not assume that every home within the same general area has the same assignment. Do not rely on an online listing, and do not base a major housing decision on someone else's vague opinion. Your priorities may not be their priority. Use reliable information, then make your own decision. The same principle applies when people ask about crime. As a real estate professional, I cannot decide what level of safety feels acceptable to you or characterize a neighborhood based on subjective labels. What I can do is direct you towards objective resources, including law enforcement data, public records, call for service information when available, and own your observation of the area. Visit the location. Pay attention to lighting, traffic, property conditions, and the surroundings. Talk directly with local law enforcement when you have specific concerns. Research the address and nearby areas using the sources you trust. Then decide whether the location meets your personal comfort level. That is more useful than asking someone online whether an entire city is safe. Norfolk is too varied for a one-word answer. Now, who may enjoy living in Norfolk? Someone who wants an older established city rather than a traditional suburb may appreciate it. Someone who values architecture, local businesses, cultural venues, waterfront access, or the possibility of living closer to work may find a strong fit. Someone who enjoys neighborhoods with distinct identities may prefer Norfolk's variety. Military households assigned to Naval Station Norfolk may find the location practical, depending on the exact commute. Someone who values a walkable or more connected environment may find certain parts of Norfolk more appealing than many suburban alternatives. And someone willing to take on an older home may find character or location that would cost considerably more somewhere else. But who may struggle with Norfolk? Someone who wants mostly newer construction and a large suburban lot may feel limited. Someone who does not want to think about flood exposure may be uncomfortable with the amount of the property-specific research required. Someone who wants abundant garage space, predictable parking, and newer neighborhood infrastructure may need to search carefully. Someone who dislikes older home maintenance may discover that a charming property asks more of them than expected. And someone who chooses Norfolk only because it appears less expensive may regret the decision if they do not calculate taxes, insurance, repairs, commuting, and long-term maintenance. Norfolk is not a city I would recommend choosing casually, but it's also not a city I would dismiss casually. It can offer a combination of waterfront access, history, culture, military proximity, architecture, and urban energy that is difficult to duplicate anywhere else in Hampton Roads. The trade-off is that you need to investigate carefully. Norfolk tends to reward buyers who pay attention, not just to the house, to the street, to the water, to the routine to work, the parking, the insurance, the property systems, and the life that they want to live after moving day. Here's the perspective shift I want you to remember. Norfolk is not a city where the broad label tells you enough. The address matters, the block matters, the elevation matters, the commute matters, and the condition of the specific house matters. Two homes with the same Norfolk mailing zip code can offer completely different ownership experiences. That is why I would not begin your search by asking, is Norfolk a good place to live? I would begin with, what do I need my location to do for me? Do you need a shorter commute to a military base? Do you want to walk to a restaurant or coffee shop? Do you want to be near the Chesapeake Bay, or do you prefer a historic home? Are you comfortable maintaining an older property? How much flood risk are you willing to accept? What total monthly payment feels comfortable after taxes, insurance, and maintenance? And how long do you expect to stay? Once you answer those questions, Norfolk becomes much easier to evaluate. You may discover that it all fits you extremely well. You may discover that one specific part of Norfolk fits while others do not. Or you may realize that Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, Suffolk, Portsmouth, or another nearby city supports your life better. That is not Norfolk winning or losing. That is you making a confident decision, and that is the goal. Before you buy a home in Norfolk, I recommend taking these 7 steps. First, test the commute at the time you will actually drive it. Second, research the property's flood risk before you become emotionally committed. Third, obtain early insurance estimates, including flood insurance when appropriate. Fourth, elevate the age and condition of the home's major systems, not just the cosmetic updates. Fifth, visit the area at different times and listen, observe, and pay attention to the parking. Sixth, calculate the complete monthly and long-term cost of ownership. And seventh, make sure the property supports a realistic exit strategy. That exit strategy matters whether you are military or civilian. Could you comfortably keep the home for several years? Would it appeal to future buyers? Could it potentially work as a rental if your plans change? And have you actually evaluated those numbers? Do not wait until you need to move to think about how you might eventually leave. A good purchase should make sense on the way and give you reasonable options on the way out. Norfolk is a city with real strength. It has water, history, culture, employment, military significance, distinct neighborhoods, and housing options that can appeal to many different buyers. You do not need the perfect city. There is no perfect city. You need a city whose advantages support your life and whose trade-offs you understand well enough to accept. That is what confident real estate decisions look like. Not pretending the downsides do not exist, not allowing the downsides to erase every benefit. Understanding both and deciding what fits your lifestyle and goals. So, should you move to Norfolk? Possibly. Norfolk may be exactly what you're looking for, but do not choose it because one historic street looked beautiful online. Do not reject it because someone made a sweeping comment about the entire city. And do not buy a home here until you understand the property, the location, the flood exposure, and the complete cost of the daily routine that comes with it. Choose Norfolk because the real version of the city works for you, not because the postcard version does. If you're planning a move to Norfolk or anywhere in the Hampton Roads area, I created a free Find Your City tool to help you compare priorities and begin narrowing down your search and which city fits your lifestyle. You can find that link in the description below. You can also download my free Hampton Roads relocation guide. And if you want help comparing Norfolk with another part of Hampton Roads, you can schedule a free consultation with me. There is no pressure. We can talk through your commute, your budget, timeline, housing preferences, and the trade-offs you need to understand before making a decision. If you found this video helpful, hit that like and subscribe button. Every week, I share videos designed to help you make confident real estate decisions. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.